Hello there. I'm so glad you could join me today. Today I'm going to be drawing a happy little shield. Alright, we're going to start off with a nice circle. Nice big circle. We're going to draw just a few outlines here. Not too fancy, just want to make sure we get the basic outline. Alright, that looks good. That looks amazing. Alright, let me just change my color. Alright, here we go. Here we go. Alright, draw a few little more lines here, just to make it look like it does. There we go. Alright, there we go. Alright. Okay. Let me just draw a little bit more out here. It's a happy little shield. Alright. Just go around here. Make it a little more on my... There we go. Alright. There we have it. There are no mistakes, only happy accidents. And here's a nice little shield. I'm so glad you could join me today. Bye. God bless. Well, hello YouTube. This is the students of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming at you with our third podcast, the second of this semester, fall of 2015, from lovely State College, Pennsylvania. Here we have a different cast of people today. I think we have 2 new members on our panel today, so we'll go around and introduce ourselves. So Yooni, do you want to start off?
Alright, hi guys, I'm Yooni.
I'm Dan.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jake.
I'm Luke.
And we're the students of S.H.I.E.L.D. So we have a few topics to go around today. Some of them were kind of old news, but might as well get around to talking about them. So a few weeks ago, I think Hulk was confirmed he was confirmed for Thor Ragnarok, and we were talking about this a lot earlier. But I just want to get everyone's opinion on like what his role will be in the movie, and also like how do we see him getting there in the first place? So does anyone want to start?
Sure. Actually, before we start, I would actually like if we could actually do a quick recap of everything we know about the movie. Just to catch everybody who doesn't know,
So,
like perhaps the audience, up to speed on what's known and what's not known going in.
let me begin first then. When the Marvel Universe refers to Ragnarok, it usually means 2 things, and they're both related to the comic book. The first one is the Norse apocalypse, based on the mythology that inspired Thor in the first place, and the second one is the Thor clone that Iron Man created during the Civil War comic book. To be clear, the movie is not going the Thor clone route. We are going the apocalypse, the end of everything Asgardian route.
And so we know, Hulk is confirmed, right? That's a fact.
Yes.
Yep, Ruffalo confirmed it.
Anything else confirmed about the movie going in?
Shooting in Australia.
Loki is still Odin, I'm assuming.
I'm assuming Loki's gonna be in the movie because the actor's still there.
Volstagg, they're all there.
Well, no, the Warriors 3, they haven't been in talks yet for their characters returning.
Really?
On the one hand,
Yeah, they even said that they're still waiting on Marvel to come to them.
Hiddleston had said he hasn't talked to Marvel in 2 years, so I mean, he'll probably be in it. But
Yeah.
There's also sorry, Jake.
no, you go ahead.
There's also the fact that there are some Asgardian characters that haven't been introduced, like Balder, for example.
Yeah, Valkyrie.
Well,
Exactly.
I know the Warriors 3 were in the Thor movie, but let's be honest, they didn't really do much.
No.
We're not.
No.
I really like them in the comics. Balder the Brave is even though he's not worth it, he's really cool. And Volstagg the Voluminous. Volstagg the Fat is a fantastic character.
Well, yeah, and like
played by the Punisher.
the only person I think that's had like a pretty good influence in the Marvel Universe probably has to be Lady Sif, because she was featured in like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes, and she had that little bit of banter with Thor and Dark World before Natalie Portman is like, I'm here.
Side note, the movie starring Volstagg the Voluminous, I would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah.
He is a fantastic character. He's like he's fat and he's the worst warrior, but like he's also the coolest. I remember I was reading the Walter Simonson run which I talk about all the time, you guys know. But so they like adopt these 2 kids whose like parents died. And Volstagg is the guy who like takes care of them. They're like crying and they have no idea what's going on there in Asgard. Volstagg just comes and is like, best dad.
Oh my god.
Like, yeah, he's not a good fighter, but he's like the best person out of the Warriors 3.
Yeah.
So besides Volstagg, like where do we see like the Hulk fit into this? Like I think like a while, like a few, like when this first came out, like a lot of us were talking about like how is like Hulk even gonna be in the same area as Thor? Like how do we see him getting?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if so we know the Hulk ran away at the end of the Avengers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was just like, yo, Thor, can I go to Asgard? Because the Hulk actually fits in a lot better in Asgard than he does on Earth, and there's a lot less opportunity for civilians hurt because they all play super strike.
Yeah.
I would.
Don't like that.
I would also like to take this point a moment. Like we all saw Thor: The Dark World, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we saw the portals that connected realms. Even though, Jake has pointed out it was because the convergence was about to happen.
That's a
but
good point, though. Yeah.
They never said that the portals don't exist when it's not going to happen. And Loki got to Earth after the first Thor into the Avengers somehow.
Yeah.
It would have.
Did he use the scepter for that, or
Well,
it
he
could've been
somehow got into Thanos' domain, but
Well, even
Yeah.
before that, Thor 1, they were traveling back and forth.
yeah.
Thor even got back to Earth in the Avengers just by plot convenience of saying,
Yeah.
oh, it's
Yeah,
magic,
yeah.
so...
My point is,
Can't they just go? They have the bridge. They can
Yeah.
just show up whenever
Yeah,
they
the
want.
bridge is
Yeah.
fixed, so...
But my point is, like, it wouldn't be that far off to think that Hulk just somehow,
Like,
by
taking a
accident or
few-
not, got into one of those portals, or just somehow got picked up by some Asgardian energy.
Yeah.
I think what's going to be really interesting about this movie is a lot of the times with Hulk in the movie, the character is Bruce Banner
Yeah.
and Hulk is the monster. But Hulk's going to fit a lot better in Asgard than Bruce Banner will.
Yeah.
Bruce Banner is a nerd. Hulk is the strongest there is, and in a warrior culture like Asgard, I think we'll be seeing him a lot more as the main character of the 2 identities, which would be interesting.
A lot of people really want to see like the smart Hulk come out like in this movie, or at least in the future. Like because up until this point, like we have Bruce Banner, and then we have the Hulk, who's the mindless raging monster.
Yeah.
Like in the comics, I'm pretty sure you guys know, like there is a smart Hulk that's like really powerful and also really smart, which is dangerous. And I think that would be really cool to finally see on the big screen. You know what I'm saying?
See, I think that would work really well in a movie,
Yeah.
but I'd rather see more like Planet Hulk,
Yeah.
where like
I thought
he's
the movies, but they're,
yeah.
they're gonna blend a lot of Planet
where
Hulk
he's
into that.
he's not a moron. Like he's angry a lot of times and he doesn't control his own strength, but he's not a moron.
Yeah.
He's just like not Bruce Banner. He's a guy who's really strong, and he doesn't belong in a world like ours. He is the kind of guy he's basically Conan the Barbarian. Like, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
In another era, the Hulk would be like a king or a fantastic warrior. He would be the biggest hero. But he's in a modern world, so he's destroying cities.
What Dan said about Smart Hulk will also brings a question for, at least with the newer generation of fans like us. I'd like to call us the middle generation. We're not original trilogy Star Wars or prequel. We were right in the middle.
Yeah.
To put it metaphorically.
Fair enough.
So I feel like making the Smart Hulk could work in the sense that some kids younger than us, obviously, would have seen Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That Hulk,
I've heard that.
yeah, it's a good show. So it's on Netflix. Check it out. But that Hulk, he was also smart. He didn't have Bruce Banner's intelligence, but he could still form, full sentences and actually plan out attacks.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
here's the disconnect. You guys say Smart Hulk, and you mean a Hulk that's not a moron. I'm part of the middle generation like yourselves, but I have 2 older brothers, so I always got into comics. I got into comics reading their old back issues. So when I think Smart Hulk, I think Maestro. Do you guys?
All right,
Yeah, we know.
So you're
what
thinking
Yeah, I
Peter
heard
David.
about that. Yeah.
Okay, so those who don't know who Maestro is, there was an old Hulk comic way back when he travels to the future, and he meets a Hulk with all the smarts of Bruce Banner, and it seems really cool at first, except he's also an evil megalomaniac, and it's a really simple premise, which is absolutely fantastic, because you see a man with all the strength of the Hulk, and all the smarts of Bruce Banner, and the most magnificent beard, and it is just amazing. Maybe in post-production we can add a picture of him, just to see what he's like. He's got this really cool beard, and I vaguely remember him wearing like this weird royal regalia with like a blue vest and like a giant gold necklace. He looked really cool, and he was a cool villain. So when I think Smart Hulk, I think they finally make a Hulk movie, and it's Hulk versus Maestro, and it's like 10 minutes of Maestro outsmarting him, and then 90 minutes of punching each other in the face.
Well, that's another thing too. I feel like a lot of time, I feel like with Thor and the Hulk, for Marvel at least, like thinking that financially, like those two franchises have been kind of unsteady.
Yeah.
So I think like any opportunity to put as much Hulk stuff into Thor that they can, I think they're probably gonna do it because, you know, with Thor it's kind of been unsteady the past few. Dark World was
His
very
movies
underwhelming.
If we do get another solo solo Hulk movie, I think Incredible Hulk proved that we're not ever get a Hulk movie where the Hulk isn't on the run
Yeah.
from something. But I mean, if we do, I'd like to see the leader as the villain.
Yeah.
So-
Someone that could probably outsmart him.
Yeah.
That way.
I mean, I really want to see Planet Hulk. We all do, because it was a fantastic comic.
It would all be CGI.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be too expensive. It's all gonna be CGI.
That being said, though, if they don't go the Star Wars prequel routes and go Guardians or heck even the Episode 7 route, where it's anything that you don't have to make CGI is practical, it could be good though.
That's a good point. They've done like Guardians of the Galaxy, lots of aliens. They made it work.
Groot was completely motion.
Yeah.
Completely motion.
Like, I mean-
capture. Rocket.
Yeah, like they CGI is getting cheaper, so maybe in a couple years we might see a Planet Hulk.
Yeah.
But as a side note, one thing I want to bring up, you brought up that they're throwing Hulk into the Thor movie.
Yeah.
Because they've both been kind of weak titles. If this movie works out, I think we're gonna see a shift in the Marvel lineup where they do this more often. A lot more team movies. Not like full-on 5-man Avengers teams or like huge teams, but like one or two guys just in a movie together, co-starring. I think we could see that happen.
You know what's really upsetting too is the fact that Thor's universe is so huge. Like he just opens up the entire cosmic entity of Marvel. And what they've done in the past two movies, it's just such like they're just scratching the surface of what they could do with like, you know, all different characters like Beta Ray Bill and all these other characters. Like it's like, you know, this isn't necessary for them to have to do this, but they have to.
To be
Well,
fair,
people like the Hulk. It comes down to I don't think Thor makes money. The Hulk makes money.
Also, to be fair, Thor has a huge, crazy world, so it falls into the same problem a Planet Hulk movie throws into.
Too little.
You just need so much like CGI and
Yeah.
money poured in, and he's just not a like a money-making character, which is a shame because if you ever get a chance to read some of his comics, again, Walter Simonson's Thor, I'm gonna plug that like 12 times every time we talk about him. It is amazing.
We'll have a video where we just list like a bunch of like comic book characters where essentially we'll have a list of Marvel Cinematic Universe characters whose comics are good and you have to read.
And at some point, I will get these guys to do a podcast on Walter Simonson's Thor exclusively.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We really
Going
should.
through like panel by
I
panel.
think for Thor Ragnarok, I think we're gonna get as much Planet Hulk as we can in there.
Yeah.
So I think
Gladiators.
we're gonna get.
Yes.
You mean we're definitely gonna get a gladiator scene where Thor and Hulk fight each other for probably 2 minutes,
Mike,
and then something bigger is probably.
do you think they're
gonna
I want longer than that.
Yeah, I want at least half the movie to be Thor versus Hulk.
I want
Actually,
as long
that-
as the
that-
Hulk Buster
that
scene.
just-
Well, it's
that
been-
just made me think. The first time we see Hulk in Thor Ragnarok, for all we know, could be him as a slave.
I think it's gonna be him
one
and
of the
Veil
9
in
realms,
there.
Yeah, one of the 9 realms fighting as Gladiator, and
Yeah, trying to
Thor's
get
just
out.
like, I know him.
Yeah, it's like,
Here's the question, though.
great monster.
Here's the question: which realm has got him enslaved? They used the Dark Elves last movie.
And they're all.
Wait, what was the one that was like that he hit the guy with the hammer like anyone else? Was that Sparkle Line?
No, that was that realm specifically,
Yeah, but that's
where it just happened to everyone just looked like an Asian.
yeah. That was
I mean, that was the realm I think Hogan was from. So.
To be fair, I mean, come on.
I'm just,
It's comics. They're racist. It's gonna be a thing.
It's a joke, relax. But yeah, that realm was Vanaheim.
Disneyland?
You see like Mickey Mouse. Just,
Because they're one of the few things I could see, like a bunch of frost giants overpowering the Hulk, so I could see them being capturing him. But I don't think it's gonna be the frost giants.
I mean, the movie has been described.
Has it?
It's been described as a buddy Hulk. It's a buddy cop movie between Thor and the Hulk.
Well, yeah, but like I'm wondering like, what other realm are we gonna see? Presumably is the ones who like captured the Hulk.
I'm all for more frost giants.
Actually, on both Norse mythology and Thor mythology, we haven't seen one realm. I forgot the name of it, but it's the home of the dwarves. the real birthplace of Mjolnir.
Aren't the dwarves
Yeah.
dark elves in Norse mythology? Aren't they the same thing?
No,
They're not?
there's light elves and dark elves. The light elves' realm is Alfheim, and then Svartalheim or Svartalheim, however you say it. That's the dark elves.
Yeah, but I thought the dark elves were also the dwarves.
No, the dwarves are a separate race.
Are they?
Yeah.
They're like the blacksmiths.
They're not all the same,
All
Jake.
of the realms.
Okay, Dan.
But yeah, I feel like that.
What minority are you? Because I'm Jewish.
Because if we're going to the apocalypse of this Norse universe, what better way to go than essentially to the race that was the foundation
That made
stone
the hammer.
for all the 9 realms?
Yeah. I really want to see Suitor because again, Walter Simon's Thor, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
I know, it just
sucks
because
I want to get at least 12
it just sucks
into
because
this
we're probably gonna
podcast.
see all this stuff come out, but then it's all gonna be blown to pieces. Like, I don't know if we're gonna get a 4th Thor movie. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
So
think we are.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
the nice thing about
they're
Ragnarok
rebooting
is
it
it starts
right
over,
now.
and this will be a way for Marvel to finally rebuy DC's New Gods. Because
this will be like the first step towards like when they make a movie of Secret Wars.
Marvel DC first movie crossover, New Gods, sequel to Ragnarok.
I think
To the
Ragnarok could just be a name that they're throwing out there.
Yeah,
You
just
mean-
like how Civil War is.
You mean
just
like
gonna
just
be,
you
yeah,
mean
it's
you
not
mean
gonna
there's a
be-
twist like the Winter Soldier did?
Me or him?
Yeah.
For what?
Like
Which one of us are you talking to?
Yeah.
both. Well, everybody, but yeah. You know how like Captain America, the Winter Soldier, it
It wasn't straight up the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, the Winter,
storyline.
they
include that whole
it's that
twist.
whole
Yeah.
Which I like. I'm glad they're not just straight up copying the comic, because I like seeing new things.
Yeah.
I do want to know what's going to happen with Odin because Anthony Hopkins, I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah, he said that he's like.
I don't think he liked working on the second one.
Yeah.
so-
And well, I mean, Owen didn't do anything.
Yeah,
So that would be kind of
The
annoying.
whole second one, he was bitching people out about going.
And plus-
And the first one he was asleep
fighting.
half the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was in
I-
Odin sleep,
Yeah, I mean, if like the cool
which is
thing,
basically him in a coma.
if you're an actor, like the reason you want to play these characters is so you can pretend to be those characters. I mean, look how much fun Hugh Jackman has just pretending to be Wolverine. Presumably, like 24/7 now.
There's also that,
presumably
and
he
Anthony-
only refers to
yeah,
himself.
And I think
as Wolverine.
Anthony Hopkins alone is just okay. He's not Robert Downey Jr., but he's a pretty big actor, and I
Yeah,
think
and he's not doing anything.
No.
Like I mean, they tell you get to be like Thor, and then you just Odin, and then you just stand around on.
Yeah, all he does is like use a staff.
He has those
to
cool
blast
scenes at
away.
the beginning where he's blasting people
Yeah,
with the staff.
That was probably a lot of fun.
And then he just gets, and then like Loki yells at him. He's like, "Oh, I'm having a heart attack."
Yeah.
Just
But
done.
I want to touch on Smart Hulk just for one last second.
Okay.
I mean, I think we'd all like to see it happen,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna have to talk business sense here. Where the money is, people want to see the Hulk smash it.
yeah.
So I don't really think but the good thing is we got in Age of Ultron. He was getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get proof on that point. Hopefully he'll be speaking full sentences in this movie because I expect a lot more Hulk than just Bruce Banner. Because I
Yeah.
assume it's going to be a lot more long battle scenes and stuff like that.
We don't like.
That was actually that we brought up earlier that Hulk fits in better. So that might be actually how they transition to something like that. Because if Hulk's out there more and in a culture that like doesn't treat him as a monster, you're not the monster Hulk. You are greatest warrior ever, best friend of Thor,
Yeah,
strongest
he'll
there
probably
is.
be
Hulk.
like, I want to stay here now.
Yeah, like
They
you
actually
just
like
you
me.
just destroyed that village of Frost Giants. Great, have a flagon of ale. Have
Yeah.
12 flagons
It's
of
like-
ale.
I'd love to see Thor and Hulk drinking buddies.
Yeah,
That'd be
right.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Like if there's not a scene of them just partying after like destroying a Frost Giant village.
It's probably the end credit scene, right?
Yeah, like, if their end credit scene is not just a
Another.
giant
You heard
party.
it here first. End credit scene: Hulk and Thor drinking buddies.
If it happens, we
Drinking
called it.
Asgardian meat.
Yeah, like I think that'd be a great way to transition that because he gets to be in a culture that doesn't treat him as just the monster, but as the better form of Bruce Banner, the warrior.
the better warrior and
Yeah,
than
like,
Thor. Like they'll
'cause-
be like, well, why do we need Thor? This guy
Yeah,
can
well,
destroy people faster.
Plus-
Thor's pretty badass.
I mean,
Yeah, but
Incredible Hulk, he was playing with him, trying to
Comics-
control his powers. So I mean,
Comics,
assume-
I put money on Thor over Hulk. I'm gonna lay that down.
I
If
don't
you've
know.
only read the Avengers comics, Thor's considerably weakened. But in his solo titles, he's a lot stronger.
And-
Who?
Thor.
Okay.
And so I throw money down on Thor over
Plus
Hulk.
his return after his first comic after the Civil War was done, and he had come back after Ragnarok.
he annihilates Iron Man.
Yeah, he proved. He just verbally said he was holding back. So
Yeah.
Jake's point stands
'Cause-
even more.
Thor has the Superman problem, probably because he was
His power
made
is
as the Marvel counterpart of Superman, where he's too strong for a team book, So he's written at two very distinct power levels. You've got the Thor comic power levels, where he is Thor, God of Thunder, and then you've got the Avengers power level, where he's like
Thor,
Iron
Guy
Man.
of Thunder.
It's even funnier in events where he's weakened even more in events.
Yeah. So in his own comic, I throw money down on Thor.
All right, so you've been talking about this a lot. We should probably move on to the next.
I mean, hey, we got a lot more than I thought we were going to talk about it.
Yeah,
That was the podcast.
that was a
This is
very
my first
good
time.
discussion. We can keep going. The next thing is also another news item pertaining to the movies. And we were just talking about this earlier, but Mantis was cast by Marvel, I think, last week. That she was going to appear in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which is the sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy. And I know, I'm almost certain all you guys are really pumped for that movie. I think that's probably one of the most, one of the strongest titles in the Phase 3 lineup, next to Civil War and stuff. But what do we think about it? Because I think a lot of people, after Guardians of the Galaxy came out, a lot of people were like asking so much about like who's the villain gonna be? Who are they gonna do? Are they gonna talk? Are they gonna like include like his father? Are they gonna include these people? You know, so like to finally be able to get someone who's probably not even gonna be the villains. It's gonna be another team up with them. I mean, like, what do we think about Mantis?
Well, let's get one thing straight here. It's a rumor that she's gonna be playing Mantis.
The
Like they
cast-
haven't
yeah,
confirmed it. So
Okay.
We might
Could
want
be
to.
anyone.
Oh, well, okay.
We might want to
not-
explain
not
who Mantis
confirmed.
is, because she's a pretty obscure character.
Yeah.
We
I didn't know until
we had
2
to
minutes
look
ago.
this up before the podcast, but quick rundown. So the Mantis is an old character, was part of the Avengers for a little bit, Asian, knows Kung Fu, then the Kree
course.
Empire, I mean, come on,
They go
it's comics.
Relax.
If you want something not racist, don't read comics.
That's a good point.
When I mentioned the actress's name,
Oh yeah.
Clementia.
Palm's something I can't pronounce.
We apologize for butchering up the last name.
But yeah, so she's Asian, she knows Kung Fu. There was this thing with, I think, the Kree, if I'm remembering right with our little review.
Yeah.
They thought she was going to marry, like, the last Kodal or something. It's spelled like that Aztec feathered dragon that I can never pronounce. But she was going to marry the last, like, celestial one and give birth to the celestial Madonna. And then she kind of disappeared for a while before showing up in Guardians of the Galaxy as a alien grasshopper lady. During Annihilation, we have Conquest, where again she knew Kung Fu, but it was less racist because now she was an alien grasshopper lady.
Another fact to take note of: she was part of the team that inspired the movie. Like the lineup of that team was Star-Lord, well, the 5 from the movie plus her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Gamora was the last one to join during the Conquest run,
I might be
but
wrong.
it was all during the same run.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so one of the things that actually they talk about Guardians 1, if we're entirely honest. I can't remember the actor's name, but Peter Quill was like, Peter Quill and Rocket Raccoon were like the actual characters.
Yeah.
The rest were kind of just bodies filling slots.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if
I think Gamora was an actual character too.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
She has a whole arc.
Yeah, but like
they're probably gonna explore
it
it
was the
further.
token girl arc.
The only real person that was, pushed to the sidelines in terms of character or something like that was Groot and Drax.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I'm wondering if
I mean,
Mantis is just going to be
Drax
another
has
body
whole
filling a slot.
vengeance arc going
No,
on.
Drax-
Jax has a whole arc going on there too.
I guess Groot's the
Yeah,
only
but
one
they
that
had arcs, but they weren't really.
No,
like,
Groot, I'd say Groot even has an arc.
Yeah, Groot
Yeah, but
sacrificed
he
himself
sacrificed
to
his
save
life
her.
to
To save
but
the
they
team.
weren't very strong characters. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, I have to agree. Like David Bautista's acting performance probably was the weakest of all of them in that movie. Like, and that's even including like Vin Diesel
Well,
and.
I still
Diesel's
think
so
I still
bad.
think Batista
Like,
did a
his I Am
fine
Groot.
job.
Oh no,
His I
he
Am
did.
Groot in all those
He
languages.
did do a great. Like they were all good actors and they did a great job. But
Yeah.
the stars of the show were clearly Peter Quill and Rocket.
Yeah, well, I think it's his
Who
story.
imagined
Started off-
Chris Pratt getting super big?
Yeah.
Yeah, but so I'm wondering if Mantis is just going to be another body filling a slot.
It's gonna be another green alien chick on team.
I was actually wondering if she's replacing Gamora for some reason because they're both green
Well,
aliens.
I wouldn't
On a
imagine
side-
Zoe
someone
Saldana
else.
drops
On a
out.
side note, they'll probably change her origin story because that's what they did with Drax, because he's not Arthur Douglas anymore. But
Well,
also
they might
changed-
also finally explain how she went from Asian chick to green alien bug.
Yeah.
I don't think that was ever explained. She just kind of showed up.
Another thing this possibly could be, remember in the Singer X-Men's how like they just put characters in the background and say that that is that character?
Trying to just
Yeah.
build up.
We don't,
Yeah.
I mean, this person clearly is cast. We don't know if they're going to be a member of the whole team for the whole movie, or this could be like they're at a bar and that's the character in the background. So
Do we know anything about the actress? Is she like
I've never heard of
her either. I mean,
Which lends credence to she may just be an actress in the back of the door.
I mean, it's still really interesting because like Marvel's
They're getting characters out there.
Yeah. I mean, they're because the thing is they're gonna have to when the big three, because Iron Man's already done. Cap and
We're not sure about that.
well, yeah. I mean, but Cap and they said this is the end of a trilogy, and like they have to start building up these other.
Which I'd assume
Characters.
Spider-Man takes over that.
Yeah, well, Spider-Man will like lead that.
Especially
thing, but,
taking over with a
they finally
15-year-old Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, they'll have him for 20.
Speaking of
years.
Ultimate Spider-Man, I really hope we get a movie version of what's the new 13-year-old Spider-Man in Ultimate Spider-Man?
Miles Morales.
Miles Morales. He is fantastic.
That's a good run too.
Yeah,
More than likely we'll see an Easter egg of him, but he won't be Spider-Man yet.
Yeah, but well, I'm thinking because they seem to be doing trilogies because trilogies just sell well. So I would
Everything's a 3-act plan.
Yeah, if we did a 3-trilogy Spider-Man, and then started a new trilogy with Spider-Man dying and Miles Morales, that would be a great way to continue the franchise.
If Tom Holland ever wants an out.
Yeah, if I was him, I'd be like, don't kill me off.
But it'd be a great way to continue the franchise with new
would be,
characters
but-
and without replaying the same origin story. Because we've seen the origin story of Spider-Man
Well, we're not getting
We're not,
it.
we're definitely
not getting
they
it.
definitely confirmed that we're not gonna have to see that, which thank God, because we all know Uncle Ben
How
dies.
many more times can we rewrite with great power?
I'd like to see the
Well, we're gonna do that
1960s
anyway.
Spider-Man origin story where he clearly is a villain.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's got great lines like, "Hi Peter, I'll get you one day."
Well, anyway, coming back to Guardians.
You said something about the villain not being sure, right? Everybody's guessing on who it is.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to know anything, kind of. Because I enjoyed Guardians so much, just kind of going in very blind. And it was the first time since I saw Star Wars the first time that I had that much fun during a movie.
Yeah.
So I'm really it's one of those movies you can just sit back and let the ride unfold.
Yeah.
So,
On that note, though, I'm gonna throw a vote out if you want to cover your ears.
I mean, I'm not gonna, I'm all open.
So, Annihilation Conquest. So it opened up with the Technarchy, which is like robot aliens who spread via turning other people into robot aliens with a touch. So it opened up with the Technarchy, Annihilation Wave Conquest, which was the original team that the movie was based off.
I read it.
And the interesting thing about that was the Technarchy at that point was controlled by Ultron. And we just had an Ultron movie.
But hold on.
And he had a lot of bodies. It was implied they were all taken out, but one of them got into space and took over the Technarchy.
As much as that would be the most unexpected thing to see in Guardians. People would ultimately just bash and say, "Oh, it's gonna say they ran out of villain ideas," which in this case it's not really because it is truthful to the comics. But at the same time, how could you really explain that? Because you'd have to show one Ultron drone flying out of space somehow.
All you have to do is say Sedovia was the country, the town.
Sokovia.
Was it a country or a town?
It's a country, I think.
It was
Yeah,
like
Was it a country of exactly one town?
I don't know.
basically.
Just
But yeah,
somewhere
so
in
Sedovia was
Europe.
basically in space at that point, and they were in Iron Man suits. It is all they'd have to do was show like one flying off during the combat and getting away.
That makes
Because
sense.
we know the Avengers weren't perfect because they missed one and Vision had to get it.
Yeah, and that's the mistake. That's the biggest mistake with Age of Ultron is that they wrap that they self-contain Ultron's like things.
Yeah.
That's the
So,
biggest mistake of that.
It'd be easy to get out there, and it would also tie the Guardians a little more closely to Earth.
Yeah.
Which,
It
on
would
the
be
one
that first
hand,
time.
their thing is space. On the other hand, with this big Thanos trilogy, having the groundwork already laid so that they at least have a method of communicating with the Avengers, especially since it looks like the Thanos trilogy will be like a trilogy movie on its own, which
Yeah.
will be like the
It's
culmination.
2 parts.
Yeah. If it has like a part in space where the Guardians fight them and then they contact Earth.
Now that you mention it, it could also factor into Peter's character development because it's like he's never been to Earth and
Yeah.
Well, since 1980
Yeah,
something.
since-
yeah,
He
he finally gets something from Earth and it's like this genocidal robot. It's like, what has my home come to?
You know, it'd be a nice way to tie it back to Earth.
He'd be like, we have to go back because
And-
stuff is going down.
I know people will say like they ran out of villain ideas, but my two rebuttals to that are one, they're never gonna run out of villain ideas. They have so freaking many in the Marvel universe. And two,
It's Ultron.
they got a really good actor for Ultron. They're
James Spader?
yeah, he did a really good Ultron. And they've been keeping Loki in every movie because his
he's the
acting
only,
is so
he's
good.
the only memorable one and the one that didn't die.
Yeah.
If you don't count King.
So Ultron as a
Crossbones.
memorable James Spader as a memorable Ultron, they might want to throw him in for another movie while they've got the
Yeah,
contract.
and like even in the comics, like Ultron's always been that like that thorn in like the Avengers side.
He does
There's
keep
always
coming
got-
back.
He keeps coming back like,
Somehow.
As a, yeah. As
Well,
like
I mean,
a
he's got
disease
robot bodies.
almost.
All you've got, it's so easy. Just say you miss one.
He's like kind of like Brainiac almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, which,
Except better because Hank Pym is terrible.
which that was the stupidest plot convenience in Age of Ultron when like Vision grabbed his head and just shut him out. It's like, really? Are you kidding me? That's all it takes?
You don't cut a computer off computer
Exactly.
by like, cutting its cord.
Exactly.
You can just get a new one.
It's so
Yeah.
dumb.
So like it'd be really easy just to say Ultron survived, and it would tie it back to Earth in a way which I would personally find really satisfying.
It would.
Yeah.
Also, now that you mention it, hold on, what was I thinking of? If they somehow, if the Guardians also find out like Ultron was somehow, if they somehow find out Ultron was created by an Infinity Stone, that would,
That's actually
Yeah.
another good point.
that they could also be like, oh, something.
know about
yeah,
That could be how Thanos learns about
Yeah.
the mind gem on Earth.
Yeah, they could be like, wait, there's
Oh wait,
something.
no, it came
He
from
already-
Scepter. He already knows.
He
about
already knew.
that.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
So
But he
that-
wants
forgot
it
it was
back
the scepter,
because, you
yeah.
know, Loki screwed it up and he wants the.
Yeah, so that way the Guardians can figure out maybe something else. Maybe there's a third party in all this Infinity Stone, heists, and then
Yeah.
they run into Thanos or at least hear about him.
How do we
Yeah.
know that Thor and the Guardians won't cross paths in Thor Ragnarok?
That is true. as
That's
well.
true too.
But
But
yeah,
I was just throwing out there as a neat way to
Because
reuse
we
an
know
actor
that the
that worked
Asgardians
really
in
well,
that part of
and it ties
Asgard
back to
before.
Earth. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are saying that like Thor Ragnarok is when shit's gonna hit the fan. Like
I would assume so.
that's when that's the beginning.
Well,
of
we
the
know
end.
shit's gonna probably hit the fan on Earth in Civil War. So
Exactly.
It's
like,
actually
that's-
been said
this is like the
that
cosmic
Ragnarok
version
is
of
going to be like a huge turning point for the
Cosmic side of the Marvel Universe?
yeah, and like Phase 3 overall. Like
Okay.
it's not going to be Civil War, it's going to be Ragnarok. It's going to be like the huge shift, like what Winter Soldier did for the previous films.
So, Civil War's the warm-up, and then Ragnarok's the big event.
yeah.
Well, I think Civil War might more be the culmination of the story arc we saw in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and
Yeah.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I think after.
I think it's going to culminate that whole Hydra thing.
Yeah.
But that would also
bring it to an end.
Yeah.
Actually, that being said, I will say this: I would like at least one person from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to be in Civil War. Then
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Coulson or even Ward. I want at
feel
least
like
one person.
I feel
I'd just like to
have
see
to be
Sharon
Thor.
Carter have a bigger role.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's yeah. I was gonna say.
don't
I'm glad
Mike,
they included her.
Mike, don't
She's
mention
good.
that to Tumblr. The shippers will kill you.
Well, I don't have a Tumblr, so
Good.
guess what? I don't care.
Honestly, I would like to see
What?
Coulson come back.
Captain
Herself and
America
herself.
and anyone but Sharon Carter.
Captain America, S.H.I.E.L.D., OTP.
Guess what? I like the Ed Brubaker run, so I'd like to
No,
see Sharon
he's
Carter sue me.
Oh, his shield. Oh, yeah.
Actually, but yeah,
Actually, no, Captain America, OTP.
ship it right now.
Yeah. He's only got time for one relationship, and that relationship is democracy.
Lady Liberty
Yeah, there we go, Lady Liberty.
or
But-
Rosie the Riveter,
like-
either one.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, so yeah,
He can do it.
Sharon does deserve a bigger role considering the Brubaker's comic is where did she got her spotlight? I think.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But I mean, we go out of our way in Civil War to set her up.
Yeah,
For her to
that's true.
stand at a computer terminal and get what? Did she get shot?
No, well, she got her arm like.
She got her arm cut or something like that.
Yeah, cut off by.
I don't
But
know
I think we've seen her in Promar art, so she's definitely going to be in it. So
Yeah, she's on
I
that
don't know what
team
this
Yeah, she's on
reminded
the
me
team
of,
lineup,
yeah.
but so there's planning a Deadpool movie, right? Is that Marvel? Is that Disney owned?
Fox.
that's Fox.
Yeah, that's Fox.
That's
Because
X-Men.
I'm
know.
pretty sure
Well,
in
yeah.
Avengers 2, I don't know if anyone else got this, that I saw Bob, Agent of Hydra.
You
Because
mean-
there's the
you mean-
one guy who does the two sassy lines working
Are,
for
are you
Hydra.
talking about the guy who's like, it's the Avengers? Him?
Yeah, him, but he also says when Iron Man's like, freeze or I'll shoot,
Yeah.
he has some other funny line.
It's, like, it's a good time.
Iron Man's like, freeze, this won't hurt. And he's like, oh my god, it hurts.
No. He's like, guys, let's talk about this. It's like good talk. No, it wasn't.
That's it. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I
That
thought
was
you were
the
talking
same
about
guy.
the guy from Iron Man 3 where he's, the henchman was just like, oh, these people are so weird. And he literally
But that
runs
was the
off.
same guy twice.
He's like-
I
he's
can't
like,
imagine anybody
I
but
don't know, I
Bob,
know.
Agent of Hydra, having those two lines and surviving Hydra.
Actually, speaking
Also,
of,
I'd also like to see Dr. Faustus in Civil War.
actually on the whole Guardians thing,
Dr. Druid.
they,
Onesie.
for Guardians, we all know for a fact Kevin Feige said we have Marvel movies planned till 2028.
Till the rest of our lives.
Thank God.
I wouldn't doubt that, honestly.
Until
but
they stop making money.
Which they never
Until
will.
Feige dies.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt that, honestly, but
Until
Now-
Feige dies, you cut off one head
Well,
to
now-
replace it. Come on.
Oh, he's already training.
You don't think they already got two more lined up?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the whole that just reminded me. Do you think that movie could also somehow possibly lead into Nova? Maybe I'm just overthinking.
Oh my
because-
god,
because-
that's so true. Because
Because-
I
because
They're
want
gotta do
Nova
something
movies
with it
so
in
bad.
Guardians.
Wait, which movie are we talking about? Guardians 1?
Yeah, Guardians 2. Because I'm personally a big
With the Nova Corps?
Yeah, because I'm personally a big Nova fan and I want him to get his own movie.
Me
but,
too.
And I will get this out of the way. Richard Rider, not Sam Alexander.
Yeah, Richard Ryan.
Okay, here's
we're
the
all
thing.
in agreement.
I don't know a lot about Nova. That being said, he was fantastic in Annihilation Wave.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I thought their take on the Nova Corps as just people in really cool spaceships was really
Yeah,
cool
I-
as a
yeah.
nice departure. So on the one hand, I really liked him in Annihilation. On the other hand, I really liked what they did in the movie. So
The one building is literally the crest like that Nova has on his mask. It's
well,
like,
the ships were also the crests. I love
yeah,
that.
exactly. I'm like they're definitely gonna do it. It's like
And
they're-
also-
they're
and
waiting.
If not then,
They're
maybe
waiting.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
that
they're
movie,
waiting
also,
or
yeah,
something
it
that
also,
never gets off the
and
ground.
the way,
Yeah.
and the way the Corps describes him as Terran, it implies he's not the first human from Earth they've encountered.
Yeah,
So-
if I know they were able to classify him as
Well, I mean,
someone
they
else
probably
had
met Corsair.
I don't know if they have the. I don't know if they have the rights to that.
I don't know if he counts as an
it.
X-Men.
They don't have. Like,
I don't
so many
know if
people
Cor-
were asking like what was gonna be in it, and
Because
he's like,
Corsair, because they
like,
got
like
Wanda and Quicksilver because they're not because
No, they worked out a deal with that.
okay, but Corsair's not a
Because,
mutant.
yeah, I was saying if Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 could, or at least set up or just like set the path for a Nova film, we could see Annihilation in the future for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Which okay, you said that when we were paused, but saying that just now, I'd like to say that actually completely wins me over because the Annihilation Wave was a fantastic story, which I would love to see.
and they have to go bigger and better than
Yeah,
Thanos.
that's
so
what I
that'd be
think.
the perfect
As the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy,
Yeah.
because the Thanos is going to be in between movies 2 and 3. It looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
So yeah,
Definitely.
the
Definitely
Annihilation
perfect
Wave as an ending would be great. They'd have to do the Annihilus problem, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. But first, I want to tell our listeners, if you don't know what this is, the Annihilation Wave was a recent cosmic comic, one of the better handled ones in recent years.
Is that 04 or 05?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah.
And basically what it was okay, so there's a place called the Negative Zone. And it was first found by the Fantastic Four. It's another universe.
Somewhat referenced in Fan Force.
Yeah.
But not really.
So okay, so basically there's this physics theorem that after the Big Bang, the universe expands, and then starts to collapse in on itself before forming another singularity and then another Big Bang. The Negative Zone is a universe which is in the contraction phase. And there's some reference to the fact that ours are linked. When we expand, they contract and vice versa. And so Annihilus convinced everyone in that universe to come to ours because ours wasn't dying and just take over. So there was just this massive war. It was really cool because you see all these empires who stood for Marvel Comics for the last time. You see the Kree, the Skrull, the Shi'ar just getting their shit absolutely wrecked. And this was before Marvel started the trend of taking down and then recreating empires every like 5 issues. A good started with Vulcan.
A keynote on
I
how
hate-
a keynote on how this relates to the cinematic universe is that the Marvel Cinematic Universe's version of the Guardians were formed directly after this event because Star-Lord was a big part of it, and the Nova Corps, well, or at least their sole surviving / most powerful member, Richard Rider Nova, was also a big part of it.
Yeah, so there is some tie there, and if Nova gets his own movie, it would probably be after one like this because the Nova Corps are basically Marvel Green Lanterns, except
Yeah.
they have the same job even though their powers are different. And one of the cool things about them is they draw from one singular source, the Nova Force.
Yeah, it's called the Nova
The
Force.
Nova
Isn't that like a
Force.
little thing they
Yeah.
hold and then they...
Well, no, it's like it's on their planet, and each one has like a connection to it.
It's like the giant green power
in
battery.
Yeah, basically.
In
And
the
mo-
comparison to Green Lantern, it's not like the central power battery where the Green Lanterns all source the power. It's not because, well, Novas don't have rings. It's sort
They
of
have
their
helmets.
helmets just sort of provide a connection, like our phones to Wi-Fi and something like that, basically.
And the interesting thing is, the more Nova Corps members there are, the weaker they are, because they're dividing the power. And it's a big enough power that's not an issue, because people can only handle so much, so you're stuck with a singular amount.
right, so the next thing we want to talk about is Ronda Rousey expressed interest in playing Captain Marvel in the Captain Marvel movie, so I just wanted to get thoughts on that. I mean, my thoughts are I mean, there's no one more credible probably on the planet that could probably, she's the toughest fighter in the world today. But I mean, I've seen her acting skills in Expendables 3. Wasn't super great, but Expendables 3 wasn't the best movie in the world.
Yeah.
I didn't see the Entourage and I didn't see the last Fast and Furious, so I mean,
She
I don't.
looks huge in Fast and Furious. like, I didn't even know that was Ronda Rousey. Like, she was enormous in that movie. Like,
She then goes and beats Beth Gray in like what, 16 seconds?
she
All of her fights are in GIF form.
I can honestly see her more as being She-Hulk rather than being
I was
Captain
gonna say
Marvel.
that
Because
too.
Captain Marvel's really not buff.
I mean, if you see a picture of her though, I mean, she doesn't have to get all buff for it. But like, if you look at a picture of Ronda Rousey, she has the hair already. Like, she looks like Carol Danvers. So
I will say this though, I won't mind Ronda Rousey if she does a good job, because Dave Bautista doesn't have acting either. He did a phenomenal job as Drax.
he kind of comes from the same point. Dave
Yeah, but-
Bautista was a WWE wrestler for a good number of years.
But the difference is that Drax, you know, the way they played Drax is, you know, he was the super literal, that kind of type, so that
It was easy.
yeah, he didn't have to really put in a ton of work to act. And even still, I think a lot of people will say that Batista didn't do an absolute great job. Some people will say that.
I thought he did really well.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I saw Fast and Furious. I haven't seen Expendables 3 because I heard it was shit.
Mel Gibson was good. So
Okay.
Chuck
but
Norris was in it too, and that makes it automatically good.
yeah, I mean, Fast and Furious. She has like maybe 2 lines, and she just fights.
she doesn't
like,
have that many lines to expect.
Yeah.
And
If
So she does break a dude's arm.
if that's what she could do as Carol Danvers, then that would be cool. But she's not. She has to, you know, lead an entire movie.
I don't know if she's ready to carry a full movie by
Yeah,
herself.
I don't know if she has the acting thing. However, though, I think she's like going in trying to campaign for this, because I've heard stuff like she said that she's willing to hire acting coaches before she even like auditions and everything.
Also,
And-
she's a fan, so she's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
take it seriously.
I'd also like to
Yeah,
take
she
this
cares
moment,
about
like, I do respect it, and if Ronda Rousey, you know, gets acting coaches and does a phenomenal job, I won't complain. But my personal 2 actresses who I think should play Captain Marvel is Yvonne Strahovski, who you might know from Chuck or Mass Effect, and Katie Sackhoff as in Battlestar Galactica.
I still want Emily Blunt, which from Edge of Tomorrow is
Phenomenal.
she
She's
had-
wife from The Office.
Yeah, she had a great action role in Edge of Tomorrow. Showed that she can be badass, and also there's a recent movie that just came out, kind of like more like Oscar baity kind of movie called Sicario.
Yeah, I heard that's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's with her. She doesn't actually do a ton of action in that movie, but she acts really well in it. And it's with her, and the other 2 main players in the movie are Josh Brolin and
Is Del Toro in that?
yeah, and Benicio del Toro. So she's got Thanos and the Collector in the movie. So like, hey, bring her into the Marvel Club. You know, perfect time to have their agents talk to her agent and be like, hey, we can get you in on this Marvel thing.
So the same director of that is going off and directing the Blade Runners.
Oh yeah.
So there's a nice little everything in there. But I mean, the way I look at it is, personally, I mean, is Ronda Rousey credible for the part? Yeah. I mean, she looks the part, probably sounds the part. I mean, it's just, you take a giant gamble when you choose. I remember when this is going way back. They're like, who should play Thor? I'm like, and the people were like, Triple H from the WWE. And I'm like, I mean, I'm a huge Triple H fan, but even as a Triple H fan, I'm like, nah, no, it's not the guy you want to sign to hopefully a multi-million-dollar franchise.
Well, we just watched X-Men tonight, and I don't know, as a wrestling fan, I don't know if you would know. Do you know who played
The guy that played Sabretooth was like in WCW.
Okay, yeah. Well,
2000. He didn't do anything.
Well, he was a wrestler, and he was at least. I mean, again, this doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. Batista's debatable, and there are other examples like The Rock.
The most
very
successful
popular.
examples are Dave Bautista and The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the guy, like they cast the guy as Sabretooth as a wrestler, and like he was total shit, even though they only gave him like 3 lines. And then
But he
later,
looked the part.
yeah, I mean, he kind of, I think he looked totally, they overdid it and he looked ridiculous. But then later in Origins, which was a shit movie otherwise, Liev Schreiber was a decent Sabretooth and he's a good actor and everything. And so think The Rock, Batista, you can, like, you know, people can discover new skills and everything. But I think she should, if she wants to be Carol Danvers, she needs to get a dramatic role right now.
Yeah.
And be in some indie
She's got a
movie.
fight coming up, so that's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Well, if she wants to be an actress, she has to show that she wants to be an
She's
actress.
gonna have to take off
She-
time from fighting.
She
build
can't.
the resume.
Yeah, she can't get her first role as the solo star in a MCU
First.
multi-million-dollar movie.
Yeah.
First
First
Marvel
female.
female-led movie.
Yeah.
It's just that
You
doesn't
don't
make,
want it falling flat on its face.
yeah, that doesn't make
That's
any
the
sense.
biggest- yeah.
If she wants to get in it, she needs to go do like 2 movies before they start auditioning.
That's the biggest.
And I don't
thing.
know if she has time for that.
I mean, I want to throw. I'm very much in the belief if you have a good director,
Yeah.
you can get probably a good performance out of anyone.
Well, that too, but,
But-
you also want both.
Yeah,
you want a
you
best of
need
both
all
worlds. You
talent.
don't want to take a giant risk like that.
Especially with Marvel, especially like they've gotten so much heat in the past about like the female roles in the movies, and like this movie has to be like, you know, has to be decent. I mean, I can't be a crappy
I
movie
think it
with
has to be
crappy-
more than decent. I think it's
Yeah.
really gotta go out there.
And even
Yeah.
without that, with DC doing Wonder Woman before Captain Marvel, they needed.
Yeah.
They know for a fact that they need to step up that game.
Yeah.
Big time.
Well, DC needed to step it up too, because
That's why they're doing Batman.
they have the most iconic women's character of all time, and it's 2015,
And it still hasn't had a movie.
It still hasn't had a movie yet.
Yeah.
It had one animated movie, standalone, that didn't sell.
Yeah.
My point still stands. Just so we don't go into tangents. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the whole thing that it boils down to is like, is it worth risking, like her performance for a movie as important as this? You know.
I mean, if I'm being really honest, I don't think Walter Simonson has ever written Carol Danvers outside of maybe some crossovers. He might have drawn her in 1 or 2 issues of Avengers, but
Probably.
not a huge footprint on the character, so if I'm really being honest, I just don't care. I don't even care. Cast her as anyone. Cast her as a stick with some hair on it. I don't care.
It'd be great to have her just as a cameo,
Thanks for your input,
doing something
Jake.
from that.
Well, she was apparently gonna get a cameo in Age of Ultron.
Oh, was
They're
she?
like, you know, we're,
Yeah, they wanted her in the
final
you know the
scene.
final
That
scene
would've
where they
made
have
no
the new
sense.
Avengers.
Yeah. Oh, really?
They wanted her to just show up or something.
Yeah, that would make no
That
sense.
sounds
Yeah.
really, really stupid.
That's like the Rhino at the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like,
Well,
where did
no,
it
he
come
was-
from?
I could see her fine being at the
though.
Avengers
Yeah.
party in the
But
beginning of the movie.
it was just obscure though.
Isn't-
it just comes out of nowhere?
I think there's also since then. I think there's also been rumors that she might also have like a peek into Civil War.
I can see her. I can see her just walking around as Carol Danvers, like the was she Air Force?
Yeah, she's a pilot.
Just walking around like
Does-
the military
makes sense.
somewhere.
Does Guardians 2 come out before Captain Marvel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I could see that because she's at least in recent years she's very cosmically tied.
Yeah.
I mean she's
They moved Captain Marvel back so it doesn't go one-on-one with the Ben Affleck
Yeah.
Batman.
That's what they did with the Black Panther too, right?
No, Black Panther got moved up. I think.
Yeah,
I think they switched places
Yeah.
because I mean,
No, Black Panther.
no one
is
wants to go head to head
February-
with Batman.
Yeah, Black Panther is February 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And that worked perfectly because it's Black History Month.
But yeah, in any case, yeah.
Coincidence? I think
It's not a coincidence.
But
That's
yeah,
why they did it.
so our ultimate line is if Ronda Rousey does a good job, whatever, but for now, she needs to have at least one other movie role before she gets it.
Yeah.
But it's not just like 5 minutes of her kicking someone's ass.
And an actual role with speaking lines and, face acting and everything.
And not eating a Hardee's or, Carl Jr. hamburger.
Throwing my
Or
opinion out there.
breakfast sandwich, whatever.
After hearing about how Ronda Rousey possibly couldn't take on the role, like if they don't cast Emily Blunt as Carol Danvers, I could definitely see Rebecca Ferguson in the role.
Mission
You guys have-
Impossible.
Oh yeah, she was really good.
Road
no, not
Nation.
5'6" Road Nation, yeah.
She was phenomenal as the lead female.
I liked her,
in
yeah, I
that.
liked her in that movie.
And
Movie
this
that
was
was
like
very average.
this was like her first like big role ever, and it automatically shot her up to A-list. Like all these upcoming.
I think she did all of her own stunts too.
Yeah, and they're all like looking at her for all these like upcoming like action films and stuff. I've seen news that like they've been looking at her for Captain Marvel role, so it's very possible that they might actually cast her.
Yeah,
If she actually
just when does it come out? Is it 2019? No, it's like 2018 or 17 or whatever. So I mean that's pretty quick. That's what I'm saying. Like number one,
Do you
I
even
don't
have a director lined up?
Angelina Jolie was supposed
I'm not
to,
sure.
like, was in rumors to do it, but then she's like, no, I'm not doing it.
No.
I don't know. I don't
Actually,
know. Like,
Unbroken like was okay, but it was like
No,
the source material was already good, like good enough to go off. Like she didn't really have to do too much to the.
and I thought it was bad.
And also,
What?
also
Movie.
Luke, what you
Movie
said
was
about
bad.
Rebecca Ferguson. I've heard some people disagreeing with you on the internet because they was like, she's not blonde. It's like, well, Gustin, Flash, he's not blonde,
Yeah.
nor does he have blue eyes, but he does the job phenomenally.
And then I think his name is Ezra Miller.
Yeah, the
he's gonna be
movie
Flash
Flash.
in the films. He has
That's
black
I don't
hair.
like that. I don't. That's a different thing. I don't like that at all. He's like this like weird like skinny dorky
he doesn't
looking
look
guy
good.
with
But
long
yeah,
hair.
in any case, yes.
But
So is Adam
still, yeah. But still, you can always. I mean, she can dye her hair, bulk up a tiny bit. I'm down with
Yeah, the
that.
hair's not the
If
issue.
Paul Rudd can be a convincing superhero,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have hope.
So
No, I can see that.
do we need to wrap it up? Or?
Yeah, from Students of S.H.I.E.L.D., this is us signing off. Hope you enjoyed this podcast, and see you next week.
Magneto was right.